Okay, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is these details B2 and A5 on these exterior elevations. So this is a detail of the exterior wall section, and what you see here is the foundation wall of the building. So one thing that I wanted to point out is they have this thing listed right here as an embed plate. And this is a metal plate that has studs welded to the back of it. And they put this down in the forms of the foundation walls, and then they pour the walls around it. So what that does is it gives them a steel plate that has been encased in concrete that holds it in place. So that gives them this opportunity to weld this lintel onto the concrete wall, essentially. And what that lintel does is it holds all the weight of this brick facade, the brick veneer right here. So that's pretty important to note. And one thing that I liked that they did here is they ran this brick veneer down past the top of the foundation wall. If you remember in one of our past class assignments, there was a case study or something that we studied that the water was coming in through the brick and then it was running underneath this wall. Not in this, but in the last assignment that we did. So I think this is one reason why they ran this down past this joint right here, is so that the moisture that comes in through the mortar of the brick will run down this wall and then out. And it runs completely past this joint right here. I think based on what I was reading from the other case that we talked about, this foundation must have come all the way out like that, and then the brick was sitting right here. So the water was running down the wall, and then it was getting this chance to come underneath this interior wall and get things wet. So this right here is the metal framing of the interior wall. They do put a thing called seal sealer underneath that wall to try to keep things out. But I think one thing really important is that they ran this past. I like that. That's a good idea. Looking at this A5 detail, so this is probably the similar exterior side of the building, but this is what it looks like for a second and third floor application. This is the steel structural framing in the building, and this is what holds up the ceiling from the floor below and the floor from the floor above. So you've got a metal pan deck right here and concrete placed on top. Some things that I wanted to talk about here, they didn't have to do a metal embed because this is structural steel. So they were able to just weld the lintel for the brick veneer right onto the structural steel. They didn't have to do the embed like the other one. And the other thing that I wanted to show and focus on right here, so this is the curtain wall system. This is usually like an anodized aluminum, and so they set that, but one thing that's important to note is that they put this piece of flashing that caps the insulation and the brick. So, and notice right here that they have said that this needs to slope. So this flashing will slope from underneath that curtain wall and come out and over. And then they use a sealant right here. So any water or rain that comes down comes down the surface of the glass and then runs out over here is going to hit that edge and then slope and run right off and drip off the edge of the building. So that's what helps keep all the moisture out from above. Now you'll still get some moisture that comes through the mortar here, but again, that's going to run down, and then there should be some weep holes in this bottom row so that the moisture can come down and run off of this through the weep holes and keep the moisture out of the building. So that is my overview of these couple of details.